You will be moving into this person's house. See the picture before it gets deleted. My beloved child, wait, before you decide this is just another story. Listen with your whole heart, because something unusual is unfolding right now. Imagine discovering a picture that seems ordinary at first, yet the longer you look, the more it feels strangely familiar. A place you have never visited, a doorway you cannot remember walking through. A window that somehow feels connected to a future version of you. And then, just as your curiosity reaches its highest point, the picture disappears. Deleted. Gone. But what if it vanished because it had already served its purpose? Stay with this moment. The answer is not where you expect it to be. Life has an incredible way of introducing tomorrow before tomorrow actually arrives. Long before a destination becomes real, small clues begin to gather around those who are paying attention. A conversation that seems random. A dream that refuses to fade. A feeling that quietly follows you throughout the day. None of these moments demand your attention, yet together they begin painting a future that has been waiting patiently for your arrival. Now imagine this. Somewhere, beyond your current routine, there is a home filled with light, laughter, and stories that have not happened yet. The walls have never heard your voice, yet somehow they are waiting for it. The empty chair has never held you, yet it seems as though it already belongs to you. Strange, isn't it? How can a place you've never entered feel connected to your journey? Perhaps because every meaningful destination first exists in possibility before it appears in reality. Pause for just a second and ask yourself, why did this title catch your attention today instead of yesterday? Why this exact moment? Out of countless choices, something quietly guided your eyes here. Coincidence is often louder than purpose, but purpose is always stronger in the end. The picture you are imagining is not simply about bricks, doors, or windows. It represents a chapter of life that is still hidden behind today's circumstances. Right now, you may feel surrounded by uncertainty. Maybe you're wondering whether your future will ever look different from your present. Maybe you've carried silent questions that nobody else knows about. But every new beginning starts while the old chapter still seems permanent. Think about that. The greatest changes rarely announce themselves with noise. They begin with whispers. They begin with moments exactly like this one, moments when your imagination awakens before your reality changes. Stay a little longer, because the next piece connects everything. Imagine someone standing inside that mysterious house. They aren't looking for perfection. They aren't measuring success the way the world does. Instead, they are unknowingly making room for someone whose path is slowly moving closer every single day. Could that someone be connected to your future? Do not rush to answer. Some truths reveal themselves only after patience has done its quiet work. Have you ever noticed how life sometimes removes delays without warning? One ordinary morning becomes unforgettable. One unexpected decision changes an entire direction. One introduction opens a door that had remained invisible for years. Looking back, every step suddenly makes sense, even though none of it made sense while you were living through it. This is why today's message is different. It is not asking you to predict every detail of tomorrow. It is inviting you to prepare your heart so that when tomorrow finally arrives, you recognize it instead of fearing it. Picture yourself walking toward that house. Not because someone forced the path. Not because luck suddenly appeared. But because every choice you made with hope, every lesson you learned through waiting, and every quiet moment of growth slowly built the road beneath your feet. Notice something remarkable. The closer you move toward your future, the less important your past disappointments become. Doors that once closed no longer define your story. People who doubted you become distant echoes. Old fears lose their voice. What remains is clarity. A peaceful certainty that every delay was shaping you for something larger than you could have imagined. Before this first chapter ends, hold on to one question. What if the picture that seems ready to disappear is not asking you to chase it? What if it is inviting you to become the kind of person who naturally belongs inside it? Because in the next part, the hidden details surrounding that mysterious house begin to emerge, and what appears inside the picture may completely change the way you look at your own future. So don't let your curiosity fade just yet. The most unexpected piece of this story has not been revealed. A quiet thought: what if the picture was never meant to reveal everything at once? Sometimes the most meaningful discoveries arrive one layer at a time, inviting you to notice details that were invisible only moments before. So stay with me for a little longer, because what comes next may connect pieces you never realized belonged together. Now imagine that the picture appears once again, but this time your attention is drawn to something completely different. It isn't the size of the house. It isn't the design or the location. It is the feeling the place carries. Every corner seems peaceful. Every window reflects possibility. Every step toward the entrance feels surprisingly familiar, as though your future has already rehearsed this moment long before your present arrived. Isn't that fascinating? The places that truly matter often feel familiar before they become familiar. Think back to moments in your own life when something unexpectedly felt right. You couldn't explain it. Logic couldn't fully support it. Yet deep inside, there was a quiet confidence that whispered, "Keep moving." Those moments rarely make headlines, but they often become the turning points that reshape an entire future. Perhaps that is what this mysterious picture is trying to remind you. Not that everything is already decided, but that your preparation today determines what becomes possible tomorrow. Every skill you are learning, every challenge you are overcoming, every patient decision you are making, they are not isolated moments. They are building materials. Brick by brick. Choice by choice. Until one day you look around and realize you have become the very person capable of stepping into opportunities that once seemed impossible. Wait, there is another detail hidden in the picture. Look carefully. The front door is open. Not because someone left it that way by accident, but because opportunity rarely arrives by forcing its way into your life. It appears when readiness quietly meets the right moment. Many people spend years searching for signs while overlooking the greatest sign of all, the growth taking place inside themselves. You are changing. Even if today's progress feels invisible. Even if the results seem slower than expected. Transformation often happens silently before it becomes visible. That is why rushing the journey only hides the beauty of it. Stay until the end of this chapter, because one small realization can completely change the way you see the road ahead. Imagine walking through that doorway. Instead of uncertainty, you feel peace. Instead of pressure, you feel purpose. Instead of wondering whether you belong, you simply know that every experience prepared you for this step. That confidence is not created overnight. It is earned through patience, resilience, and the courage to continue when nobody else can see what you are becoming. If this story has sparked something positive within you, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. I genuinely enjoy hearing what part connected with you the most. And if these journeys inspire you, subscribing simply means we can continue exploring them together. Now let your imagination travel one step further. Inside the house are empty rooms. Not empty because something is missing. Empty because they are waiting to be filled with new memories, meaningful conversations, fresh ideas, unexpected victories, and moments that will someday make you smile when you look back. Every future begins as an empty room. The question is not whether the room exists. The question is what you will choose to bring into it. Will you carry yesterday's doubts? Or tomorrow's possibilities? Here is something remarkable to consider. The picture itself was never the destination. It was an invitation. An invitation to believe that your future can become larger than your current circumstances. An invitation to stop measuring your life only by today's limitations. An invitation to recognize that growth always arrives before visible change. And perhaps that explains why the picture seemed ready to disappear. Not because it wanted to leave you with questions, but because it wanted you to begin creating answers. Before this chapter closes, remember one final thought. Sometimes the greatest opportunity is already moving toward you while you believe you are the one searching for it. And in the next part, an unexpected discovery inside that mysterious house will reveal why your journey and that place may have been connected much longer than you ever imagined. Before you let your mind settle, consider one final possibility. What if the picture was never trying to predict your future, but to awaken your vision for it? Remain with this story until its last moments, because the final piece has been quietly waiting for you from the very beginning. Imagine yourself standing just inside the entrance of that mysterious house. The room is calm. Sunlight pours gently through the windows. Nothing feels rushed. Nothing feels forced. For the first time, you notice something extraordinary. The house does not impress you because it is large or beautiful. It feels meaningful because it reflects the person you have become. Every step you've taken through uncertainty, every lesson learned during difficult seasons, every quiet moment when you chose hope over fear, they all seem to echo within these walls. Then your eyes are drawn toward a picture frame resting on a nearby table. You slowly walk closer. At first, the image is blurred. You cannot make out the details. But as you move one step closer, the picture becomes clearer. What surprises you is not what the picture contains. It is what it represents. It is a reminder that your future is never built by one dramatic moment. It is shaped by hundreds of ordinary decisions made with extraordinary consistency. Suddenly, everything begins to connect. The delayed opportunities. The unexpected conversations. The moments that seemed meaningless at the time. They were not random pieces scattered across your life. They were preparing you for a chapter that required a stronger, wiser, and more confident version of yourself. Have you noticed how people often believe success arrives overnight? Yet when you look closely, every meaningful achievement has invisible roots stretching far into the past. That is true for every dream, every relationship, every opportunity, every new beginning. The future you've been imagining is not waiting for luck. It is waiting for alignment. Alignment between your actions, your mindset, and the direction you choose every single day. Now imagine looking out from one of the windows of that house. The view is different. Not because the world has changed overnight, but because your perspective has. The same challenges that once looked like barriers now appear as stepping stones. The same uncertainty that once created fear now creates excitement. The same waiting that once felt frustrating now feels purposeful. This is the quiet transformation that changes everything. Not the house. Not the picture. You. And perhaps that has been the hidden message all along. The picture was never valuable because it showed a destination. It became valuable because it reminded you that your future begins inside your thinking long before it appears in your surroundings. Imagine if you carried that awareness into every new day. How many opportunities would you notice? How many conversations would you approach differently? How many possibilities would appear where you once saw limitations? Sometimes the greatest door opens only after you stop staring at the closed ones. Sometimes the clearest path appears only after you decide to keep walking. And sometimes the picture that seems ready to disappear leaves behind something even more valuable than an image. It leaves behind vision. If today's journey encouraged you or gave you a fresh way of looking at your future, I'd love to hear your thoughts below. Your perspective might encourage someone else who happens to read it. And if you enjoy these cinematic stories of growth and possibility, subscribing is simply a way to continue this journey together. As this story comes to its close, remember this. The house was never just a house. It symbolized every opportunity waiting beyond today's horizon. The picture was never just a picture. It symbolized the glimpse of a future that begins with the choices you make today. And the person moving into that house was never defined by luck, coincidence, or perfect timing. That person became ready because they refused to stop growing, refused to stop believing, and refused to let temporary uncertainty decide their permanent future. So walk forward with confidence. Keep building. Keep learning. Keep preparing. Because one day you may look around your own life and quietly smile, realizing that what once seemed impossible slowly became your everyday reality. And when that day arrives, you'll understand that the picture didn't disappear at all. It simply became your life. One last pause, before this journey ends. There is something the picture has been waiting to reveal. It is not hidden behind a locked door. It is hidden inside a simple question. What kind of person will you become before the next chapter of your life arrives? Stay until these final moments, because the ending is where every piece finally comes together. Imagine turning around one last time before leaving that mysterious house. Everything is quiet. The sunlight still fills every room. The picture that almost disappeared is resting exactly where you first noticed it. But now something has changed. You no longer look at it with curiosity alone. You look at it with understanding. Because you finally realize the picture was never trying to show you a finished future. It was inviting you to participate in creating one. Think about how often people wait for the perfect opportunity before taking the first step. Yet life usually works the other way around. The first step creates the opportunity. The decision creates the direction. The daily habits create the future. That is why the most remarkable transformations rarely begin with dramatic events. They begin with ordinary moments that someone chooses to take seriously. Perhaps today is one of those moments. Perhaps this story entered your path not to promise certainty, but to awaken possibility. Every morning offers a blank page. Every conversation offers a new connection. Every challenge carries a lesson that can quietly prepare you for something greater than you currently imagine. The future has a fascinating habit of rewarding those who continue moving, even when the destination is still hidden beyond the horizon. Now imagine yourself walking away from the house. Surprisingly, you do not feel as though you are leaving something behind. Instead, it feels as though you are carrying something with you. Confidence. Perspective. Patience. Vision. These are the treasures that never fade. No one can delete them. No circumstance can erase them. Once they become part of you, they travel wherever you go. And that is far more valuable than any single picture. Before we reach the final line, if this journey encouraged your heart or inspired a new way of thinking, you're always welcome to share your thoughts in the comments. Reading different perspectives makes every story richer. And if these cinematic journeys help brighten your day, subscribing simply means we'll continue discovering new possibilities together. Now take one final look toward that house in your imagination. Notice something beautiful. The door remains open. Not because the story is unfinished, but because life always leaves room for another chapter. Another opportunity. Another unexpected beginning. Years from now, you may remember this moment, not because of a mysterious picture, but because it reminded you that your greatest future is built one decision at a time. So keep becoming. Keep growing. Keep believing in what you are capable of creating. Because the life you hope for is not waiting for perfection. It is waiting for persistence. And perhaps, somewhere in the future, when you arrive at a place that feels strangely familiar, you will pause for a moment and quietly smile. Not because you predicted every detail, but because you prepared yourself to recognize the opportunity when it arrived. That is the real picture. A vision that cannot be deleted. A future that begins today. And a journey that continues every time you choose hope, purpose, and forward movement over doubt. Until our paths cross again, keep your eyes open, your mind curious, and your heart ready. Sometimes the most extraordinary destination begins with nothing more than one inspiring thought, and the courage to follow where it leads. A final reflection: before this story fades into silence, there is one truth that deserves to stay with you. Close your eyes for just a moment and imagine looking back at this very day from many years in the future. What if this was the moment when your perspective quietly changed? Not because of a picture. Not because of a prediction. But because you finally believed that your future could become greater than your present. Every remarkable journey reaches a point where imagination gives way to action. This is that point. The mysterious house has already served its purpose. The picture has already delivered its message. Now the story belongs to you. Perhaps the greatest discovery was never hidden inside the walls of that house. Perhaps it was hidden inside your own potential. Think about everything you've overcome. The days when progress felt invisible. The moments when patience was difficult. The seasons when answers seemed far away. None of those experiences were wasted. Each one quietly strengthened qualities that cannot be purchased: wisdom, resilience, courage, and hope. These are the foundations upon which meaningful futures are built. Many people spend their lives searching for signs that everything will work out before they begin moving. But those who create extraordinary lives understand something different. Clarity often appears after the first step. Confidence grows after consistent action. The future becomes brighter when today's choices are made with intention. Imagine standing one final time outside that house. The breeze feels calm. The sky is clear. You smile, not because every question has been answered, but because you no longer need every answer before taking the next step. That is real confidence. Not knowing everything, but trusting your ability to grow through whatever comes next. Look carefully one last time. The picture is no longer sitting on the table. It has disappeared. Not because it was taken away. Because it is no longer needed. The image has become something greater. It has become a vision living inside your own mind. And visions have remarkable power. They influence decisions. They inspire persistence. They transform ordinary days into meaningful journeys. One day, you may find yourself entering a place that feels strangely familiar. A room. A doorway. A quiet morning filled with gratitude. And without warning, you will remember this story. Not as a prediction, but as a reminder that every meaningful destination begins with belief, preparation, and steady progress. If this journey stayed with you until the very end, thank you for sharing these moments together. Never underestimate the quiet decisions you make today. They have a way of shaping opportunities you cannot yet see. Keep learning. Keep improving. Keep choosing hope over hesitation. Keep building a future that reflects your highest values. Because the most beautiful chapters are not discovered by accident. They are created one thoughtful choice at a time. As this final page closes, carry this thought with you wherever life leads next. Your future is not waiting for someone else to write it. It is waiting for you to live it. And perhaps the greatest picture you will ever see is the one that slowly comes into focus every single day through your own determination, your own growth, and your own unwavering belief that tomorrow can be brighter than today. Until the next journey, keep looking forward. Some of life's greatest destinations begin long before you realize you are already on the road toward them. One final glimpse. Imagine that years have passed, and you suddenly come across an old photograph while organizing a forgotten box. You pause. Your heartbeat slows. The image looks familiar, not because you have seen it before, but because you are living inside the very future it once quietly hinted at. Stay with this final reflection, because sometimes the ending of a story becomes the beginning of a new way of seeing your own life. Looking back, you realize something extraordinary. The greatest turning points were never loud. They arrived disguised as ordinary days. A simple decision. A conversation you almost ignored. A chance to learn something new. A moment when you chose courage instead of comfort. Those tiny choices became the invisible bridge between who you were and who you eventually became. The mysterious house was never waiting to rescue you. It was waiting for the version of you who had grown enough to appreciate everything it represented. That is how meaningful progress works. Life rarely rewards rushed expectations. It quietly rewards steady preparation. Imagine opening one final door inside that house. Instead of finding treasure, you discover a mirror. For a brief second, you expect to see the person you used to be. But you don't. You see someone calmer. Someone wiser. Someone who no longer measures success by speed, but by growth. Someone who understands that every challenge carried a lesson, every delay carried purpose, and every season contributed something valuable. Then a thought gently crosses your mind. What if the real destination was never a place? What if the destination was becoming the person capable of creating peace wherever you go? Suddenly, every unanswered question loses its power. You stop wondering whether the future will be good enough. Instead, you begin asking how you can become even better for the future that is waiting ahead. That single shift changes everything. Because the strongest foundation is not built with certainty. It is built with character. With patience. With consistency. With a willingness to keep moving forward even when the full picture has not yet appeared. As you walk toward the exit one last time, sunlight fills the hallway. You turn around. The house seems brighter than before. Not because it has changed. Because you have. And perhaps that is the greatest message this entire journey wanted to share. The picture was never magical. The house was never the miracle. The miracle was discovering that your future begins to transform the moment your mindset begins to transform. Thank you for walking through this story from beginning to end. If it encouraged you to dream a little bigger, think a little deeper, or believe a little more in your own journey, then its purpose has already been fulfilled. Carry this vision into tomorrow. Walk with quiet confidence. Keep preparing for opportunities you cannot yet see. Keep becoming the person your future will be grateful you chose to become today. Because one day, when you look around at the life you have built, you may smile and remember this simple truth. The picture never predicted your future. It awakened your imagination. And imagination, when combined with purpose and action, has the remarkable ability to shape realities that once seemed impossible. Until our next journey together, keep moving forward. Your next chapter is not written by chance. It is written by the choices you make, one day,